I'm Ranger Erin, and today we are asking the question, what are crustaceans? Because crustaceans live all over the world, and they're a group of animals that includes crabs, lobsters, crayfish, shrimp, prawn, krill, isopods, and barnacles. And they live in aquatic habitats, so they are all animals that are either going to live in our freshwater. A lot of them live out in the ocean, or they're going to be very, very close to some water, or at the very least, they are going to be living in some places that are very moist. So one that you might know about and see a lot and might be like, I didn't realize that was a crustacean, are some woodlice. So our roly-polies and sow bugs have gills because they have that same anatomy, that they have those same types of bodies as lots and lots of other types of crustaceans. They have gills in order to breathe. And even though they live up on land, they have to live in that wet leaf litter in order to be able to breathe. It also just so happens that it's a bunch of their good food. We don't often think about crustaceans, but they may just be the largest living biomass of any of the living organisms, especially those krill and those copepods, might just be the largest body of living organisms we have on this earth. And they're a really important part of our food chains. So not only are those tiny little animals kind of low down on that food chain, and they're an important source of food for bigger animals like bigger fish, they're also going to be important for our food chain because they break down a lot of nutrients for our plants to eat. So very important all around the world. I did say that most of these animals are aquatic. A few of them can live on land, like those isopods, like those roly-polies and sow bugs, a few types of crabs, and a few types of crayfish. But again, they have those gills, so they have to live in very wet areas. So in that leaf litter or right along the edge of that creek or that river. Another thing that all of our crustaceans are going to have in common is a hard outer exoskeleton. So they're going to live in that hard body that's going to give them structure and give them protection. And they're going to have to molt that when they want to grow bigger. So sometimes, especially now, you might come down to the creek and you'll find some of those shed exoskeletons because all of these animals have them. Another thing that they all have in common that's unlike insects is that all of them have two sets of antennae. So all of our crustaceans have two sets of antennae, but one's going to be a really big pair. Unlike insects and arachnids, there's really no rule about how many legs crustaceans have. But many of them, especially like our crayfish, are going to have 5 sets of walking legs, and they're going to have three arms for eating. So those arms are just for eating. Crustaceans all around the world are going to eat a little bit differently, but a lot of them have another thing in common in that they are detritivores. And that word detritivore means that they eat dead stuff. And that sounds a little gross, but again, those are the garbage men of our world, really important role in all of our ecosystems because they're going to break down all of that stuff, that dead stuff like leaves and sticks and even some carrion like dead fish or dead bugs in the water. They're going to break it down into smaller bits, and that's going to be something that our plants are going to be able to use in order to grow tall. In Kentucky, you're really only going to find 2 of our crustaceans out here. You're going to find our crayfish, and they're going to be, again, like I said, in lots of our small streams and rivers and along the edges of them, in some fields that get flooded a lot, because again, they're going to have to live in a wet place. And you're going to see lots and lots of isopods, both in the water and up on land. So those roly-polies and sow bugs are going to be on the land, and then they have cousins that look just like them that live their whole lives in the water and look just like them. If you check out our fossils, you may even see some of their ancestors of trilobites. They kind of look like an ancient roly-poly. For your crustacean hike, head on down to a creek or a body of water and a place that has a good amount of land nearby. So on land, you could flip over some logs, look for some roly-polies. You might even see some of those water-loving isopods, the kind of the roly-polies of the water. You might check them out. Also try and catch yourself a crayfish, and then go ahead and give them a good look at their bodies. Check out how many sets of legs they have. Feel that hard exoskeleton on them. Check out how they actually have 2 sets of antennae on them, and give them a really good look. And then for your activity, this is going to be kind of wrapped up in the hike. You're going to look at that roly-poly and you're gonna look at that crayfish and you're gonna compare and contrast. So you're gonna have kind of a piece of paper with 2 columns, and you're just gonna write down all the things that they have in common and all the things that they have different that you're noticing about them. So even though these 2 animals can look really, really different, you might be surprised how much they have in common because they're both crustaceans. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you all next time.